So hello everyone, this is the Sports Show podcast, and today we're joined with Liam Cunningham. How are you, mate?
Not too bad, I'm good.
Brilliant.
Dead
So
on.
we'll just get straight into it, mate. What got you started
Yes.
in the boxing whenever you were younger?
Well, obviously my dad was coaching. He coached over in the short strand. It's a Matthews club. He boxed there himself, and then he started coaching there. Before I was born, the family moved up to Pembroke, and they were here for a few years, and then the Denver brothers, Patsy and Francie, were running the Saints boxing club. It was in the middle of the state where Brook Taxis is now, and they asked my dad to come over and give a hand, and then the one more that's asked him to take over, and he's took over from then on. Then and not long after that, the Joyers smashed a stolen car in the club and set on fire. So the priest at the time, Father McGee, relocated us over to the handball court over where we are now, our current premises, and the youth club, St. Youth Club, part past the St. Column School.
Yeah.
Been there ever since.
Yeah.
We're put into a handball court. Basically, it was the handball court with a roof. My dad and Patty McCartan, the coaches at the time, my dad was a joiner, so he built building upstairs to give us a changing facility. There was no running water, all we had was lights in the place, no showers, no toilets, no changing facilities. A few years down the line, we got a big grant off Sport NI, got two handball courts knocked into one, got changing facilities upstairs, proper electricity, proper heating system, showers and etc. I'm currently trying to get a renewed lease off the diocese here, down in Connor Diocese here. There's a third handball court sitting empty. So I want to try and get that to extend the club out into three handball courts. We're jam packed at the minute. We've only started back now. We're still waiting on some coming back, but we can't take any new members as such until we see what we have coming back, because we're literally in the middle hall with two halls. One hall of the ring and skipping area. The other hall will have bags with 14 bags hanging up in the other hall, and with two kids to a bag, and we're still not enough room, So
Yeah.
I'm currently speaking to our local priest here, Father McCann, and some nukes, and trying to get our new lease so we can go ahead and start getting building control, and then get drawings, and then hopefully apply for funding to get the our handball court. Getting our ring up and give us more room, more floor space, and
Yeah.
obviously we can hopefully get more members in and get it up to a proper standard of gym with two rings going and enough space for a full squad for squad trainings, etc. Like that.
Yeah, yeah. And just as you said there about your coach up at Saints Boxing Club, what's that like? What's your responsibilities and all that stuff? How you enjoying it?
Well, I'm more or less head coach now. I had not long. I was after I stopped boxing. Actually, I took a few years break. Got back involved in playing a bit of soccer, and then eventually managing the second team of the local club here, St. Luke's. Um, our 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 old coach Patsy McCartan was took terminally ill with cancer and died within a short period of time. And my dad asked me would I come back and give a hand, and I literally haven't looked back. Fell back in love with the game. Just say, over there every night. Currently in the gym there 5 nights a week. We're doing our boxing class, and we take a boxing class on a Tuesday and Thursday, just for a bit of revenue in the club. But now I'm more or less running the club now myself. I had been doing it for the last few years because my dad was sort of, prior to him passing away, he had a bit of an underlying chest condition, so he had led to him having a real contagious cough. And once it started, he didn't like trying to talk to people, because once it started, he had to walk away, and he got sort of, to be honest, he got a bit embarrassed about it, and so he literally led him, and then COVID kicked, and he literally led them staying in the house. So he only came around very, very, very rarely to the club. So I've been running it along with my brother Harry and coach Charlie O'Halloran and Sean McGarn, and we got Paul Bacon on board and Tony Crow on board as well. So we've a decent coaching setup there now. We've enough of us there, and it enables me to. I'm involved with the Irish under-18 team, so it enables me to go down there every second Saturday and go away in competitions with them. I was on the European Championships with them there, and here at Easter week we had kids boxing in Dublin and the All Ireland's Juvenile Championships. So thankfully we had Harry and Charlie and Paul to bring the kids up and down for the championships there. So I'm fortunate enough that we'll have quite a few committed volunteers to help me run the club and help me also to do what I like do what I'm doing in Dublin, you know.
Yeah, yeah. And you're an amateur boxer who were you fought at the Commonwealth Games, which we'll get into later. Was there ever a time in your career but where you ever wanted to go pro?
Never to be honest, mate. I'm not really a big fan of pro boxing. I never really was. I used to go and watch the old pros like so Barney Eastwood stable, Paul Hugginson, Dave Boy McCauley, Crisanto Espana. It was actually an old boxer, an old member of our box club. His uncle worked for Eastwood, so he got his tickets. So we're getting complimentary tickets, and I was only a kid at the time, 17, 10, 11, and 12, and I enjoyed watching Paul Hugginson. He's a big favourite of mine, and Dave Boy McCoy. I like watching them. Currently, you know, I wasn't bar that. I didn't really watch much professional boxing. You know, I just really love the amateur game. You know, obviously with the likes of Frampton coming on the scene, it was good. You know, I want to watch a few of his fights. Same with McCollum as well. I've maybe been once or twice to him, you know, but no, normally I don't really watch pro boxing. You know, I wouldn't really follow it that much, apart from the local boys when you know when they're on.
Yeah, yeah. And you fought at the Commonwealth Games then in 1998, Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia. First of all, how was it in terms of like the opening ceremony and all that sort of stuff?
Oh, it was amazing. It really was a big bit of a culture shock for me. It was my first year boxing at senior level. It's called elite level now, but senior level back then. Um, I didn't win the Ulster Championships that year, but because I won the Irish seniors, I got a box off with our Ulster champion at the time. I won that box off, so that got me my path to Kuala Lumpur. We went to Hungary for a training camp, which was very beneficial. Got a lot of experience there, and then we then later went to Thailand, Bangkok for a training camp and competition, which was again a big learning curve for me. You know, we had a training camp here in Belfast before Kuala Lumpur. Fortunately, or unfortunately, you know, there was myself and the guy Charlie Nice was bantamweight at the time. He got a hurt. He hurt his nose a few days in the camp, so I spent my whole camp sparring with the current. He was currently not long in the professional career, Damien Kelly. Went on to become world champion. So I was sparring with him every day for 4 weeks, which I think was a big factor on me. Helped me to get that level. Damien was in the top 5 in the world at the time as an amateur. Well, just try he was it before he turned professional. So you know, sparring that caliber of boxer really brought me on. And then the camp, and then to be honest, when I got to Kuala Lumpur, it was we done 5-2s at the time. It was a bit of a getting used to, but I trained hard and with the preparation I had, I found it really easy. I was really sharp, I was really fit. So to be honest, I didn't really struggle as such until the final, where I sort of a bit of an experience kicked in and didn't stick to my game plan, panicked a bit, and cost me a gold medal, you could say, you know. But you know, coming home with a silver at 20 at my first year elite boxing was a big achievement for me. I think, you know, looking back now. But you know, as far as the opening ceremony is concerned, it was huge. I actually can't remember. I think some of us might have been boxing on that day, so or that evening, so we might have been to this ceremony. But you know, I do remember when the Olympic Village, the likes of John Romeo, you know, the rugby player, there's the All Black rugby player. He was in the next block to us, and you know, the likes of Steve Beckley, the English javelin thrower. You know, you were mingling with the people the likes of that, and then the athletes' village and then the athletes' canteen. You know, it was really good, and everyone was sort of very welcoming and very friendly. You know, from everywhere. You know, I do remember that now, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah. And I've had a few boxers on the podcast as well who have been to events such as the Commonwealth Games as well, the Olympics, who were just happy to get out there. Were you going out there to win a medal?
My first game was Kuala Lumpur, certainly not. As I say, it was my first year at that level. To be honest, Joe, I wasn't expecting a medal. It wasn't. So I drew a guy from Wales in my first fight. I won it handy enough. It was computer scoring at the time. I won it handy enough. Then I fought an English guy. I think his name was Hagney. He was very well fancied for the games. To be honest, yeah, I beat him handy enough as well. So after that, I was me and the medals. So you know, it was anything from there was a bonus. You know, I fought a guy from South Africa in the semi-final. Beat him well. That put me in the final. Unfortunately, I come up against a top 10 amateur boxer, a guy Richard Sonny from Mauritius, not known for their boxers, but he was a very talented boxer, and he was at the time you could only box amateur when you were up until you were 34, and he was in his 34th year, so he was 10 years more mature than me, and obviously boxing wise as well, 10 more mature than me with experience. As I say, unfortunately, I sort of didn't stick to my panic after the first round because it was every fight leading up to it. I sort of got a lead and kept a lead, whereas after the first round I was behind, and I sort of panicked and went into sort of fight mode as such, if you want to call it. Didn't stick to my boxing tactics, and it didn't benefit. I ended up I lost the final. I was devastated. It wasn't until I come back and realised, seeing the family and friends and the reception I got when I come back, I realised how big it was. And obviously the Commonwealth Games are televised. I was a bit of a celebrity for a week or two. But obviously, in boxing terms, obviously, not taking nothing away from anybody as well. A medal at the games, it's not the Olympics. And it was always my dream to box in the Olympics. I think in every amateur dream is to represent Ireland at the Olympics. And yeah, coming to Sydney 2000, it was just unlucky withdrawals. Every tournament, I had 4 tournaments, and every tournament I went to, I was beaten by the eventual winner of each tournament. In my first or second fight. So unfortunately, I didn't make it to Sydney, which was a bit of a blow for me. I was hoping to kick on from Kuala Lumpur and try and qualify for Sydney.
Yeah, and as you were saying there, you've been everywhere really. You've been Kuala Lumpur, you've been Germany. You say there you were in Hungary in a training camp.
Yeah.
Yeah, like boxing.
Yes. I like within the space. I won the Irish elites in 97, and from 97 to 2002 when I stopped boxing, like I have been all over the world, all over Europe, America a few times, Cuba training camp, Thailand, Malaysia, literally half of Europe I've been around with Olympic qualifiers and the internationals representing Ireland, and stuff like that. Literally, you could say not all over the world as such, but a hell of a lot of countries in that space of time,
Yeah, and for you personally, did you enjoy fighting in Belfast, where it meant your family could go down, your friends could go down and watch you, support you?
I did. I remember I used to go to Ulster Hall when I was a kid and watch the Ulster Seniors finals, and upstairs in the balcony area they always give the kids the front row, and you hung sort of and watching the Ulster Seniors as a kid. I was watching them from as 10, 11 years of age, and then they eventually get there and boxing them in 98, 99 up to 2002. The atmosphere was absolutely amazing. To be honest, I have boxing Ulster finals and Irish finals. They're pretty different atmospheres, but you can't beat the Ulster Hall final, Ulster Senior finals, with a full house. Boxing that, but it's a serious buzz. It's hard to describe. Different from the National Stadium. The same night, some nights were magnetic, and Dublin as well. But honestly, my favorite place was the Ulster Hall for Ulster Senior finals night. Especially boxing in them.
Yeah, and I've been to the Ulster Hall few times myself, the SSC Arena as well, but the Belfast atmosphere is always incredible.
Where we are, I suppose you could say more professional than amateur at the minute, but Belfast is buzzing for boxing, and it always has been, and it always will be, because of the boxing culture in Belfast. You just look at the recent Commonwealth Games here. We've come back with 7 medals. Top country in the boxing, and up against some not the top nations. Like don't get me wrong, but you have Canada, Australia, India, England, Scotland, Wales. And we topped that table. Huge achievement by the current team and the current coaching setup. A huge achievement, and looking really good for Ulster and Irish boxing going forward for the Olympics here.
Yeah. And before we go, with 2 wee questions. Who would you say personally would be the best fighter to fight at Saints Boxing Club?
Apart from myself.
Yeah, apart from yourself.
Listen, we had a lot of good kids come through. To be honest, there was only myself and Harry really went to elite level. Then apart from most recently Nathan Watson, he boxed in the Ulster Seniors. I think it was 8 years ago. He's now boxing professional in Australia. He's now 7-0 in Australia and doing well, slowly but surely getting there. Getting
Right.
notching up the wins. Nathan is a very is still a very very good fighter. He just getting breaks. Obviously, he went to Australia. COVID kicked in. He didn't really get setting off, but he's staying quite busy now. He didn't fulfill. I would say he didn't fulfill his potential as an amateur. But that's it's all right. It's easy. It's easy. Things are easier said than done.
Yeah.
Especially looking out from outside the ring. Then it's at the end of the day, boxing's an individual sport. You're in there by yourself, and only you can change things. So.
Yeah.
Acknowledge, unfortunately, when I was younger, we used to have 10, 12 Ulster Antrim champions. Sort of, to be honest, after I stopped boxing, or I stopped boxing, was sort of a struggle for members as such, and competitive boxers. But now, just last year, there we had 15 kids in the Antrim Novice Championships up in the Brigg Activity Centre. We had 15 kids. Now that's the most we have had ever in our history. Now, you know what? I know it's only a novice competition, but we had 15 active competitors, and then we went on again for we had 12 in the threes, and we had 8 or so in the county anthems. It is looking good for us now. We're starting to, and I'm hoping that our members will kick on and keep getting experience, and hopefully sort of doing as best they can and progressing, and hopefully we'll have Irish internationals, Ulster internationals someday,
Yeah. And lastly, is there any Saints up and coming boxers to look out for in the future?
Well, we have a couple of. We had some kids there now. We're down to the Monktown International Box Cup in Dublin there at the end of June. We only brought 3 boxers down. We got 2 champions there. We have Noah and Kane Bacon, our brothers from Demurray there. Kane's only a boy 1. 11 years old, his first year boxing. He was beaten in the Irish Championships, but he went and won the Monkstown Cup and beat 2 good kids on the way. We have Niall Hall from the estate, who hasn't had much luck the last days. He's 14 now. First 3 years in boxing, he hasn't had much luck. But in fairness to the kid, he's the most dedicated kid in the club. He trains and he's just kept knuckling down, and he's got a bit of luck in Dublin. Had 2 wins in Dublin, and then he went and had 2 great wins in Monkstown and won the Monkstown Cup. So he's hopefully turned the corner and hopefully see more success for him.
Yeah. Liam, thank you very much, mate, for coming on.
No problem, Dara. Good to hear from you. Take it easy, mate.
See you later.
Okay, mate. See ya.